text line, and we bring on our good friend Donna Ditota from Syracuse.com to keep the SU basketball conversation going. Donna, how you doing today?
I am doing well. How about you?
We're doing great, and we love talking basketball with you. So let's jump in on this team. And, a couple weeks ago, if I had said, they're going to play a game in which they're going to give up 86 points, you would have said they lose by 15, right? The way that they were scoring the basketball. They put up 94 last night in an up-tempo game. They get the win. What do you make of this stretch? I know it's been against lesser competition, but, I guess how encouraged are you about this team from what we've seen since Donnie's come back?
Well, I'm a lot more encouraged since Donnie has come back. Let's put it that way. It's hard not to be, really. I mean, I think he's averaging something like 24 a game or something since he's been back, and they need a guy like him to be sort of the go-to guy, and he's playing with a ton of confidence, and they just look like a better, more confident offensive team, and I think they're moving the ball better. There's not as much standing as there was. So I think offensively they're better. I will say that Florida State just gave up 113 points to NC State. So let's not discount the fact that, Florida State plays super fast. These games are high scoring, and they're not exactly, a great defensive team. But that being said, you got to win these games. That's the team they played. They won. They scored a bunch of points, So it's pretty good.
When you look at Nate George's play, especially last night, 13 assists in the basketball game, have you seen him make strides over these last couple of games of kind of getting more accustomed to playing with Donnie and playing, obviously, alongside JJ and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday he was really masterful. I mean, he's had his moments in the last few games where he's had these weird, little glitches of turnovers. I like a point guard who's going to kind of go for a big play and might try to get a lob or might try to get something that's going to get the crowd excited, get the team excited. But he's had a couple of games where he's just turned it over in kind of just weirdly. I can't describe it any other way. But I thought he was really, really good yesterday. He got into spaces in the lane. He got into spaces along the baseline, and he found teammates. I mean, he made one pass on an inbounds play to the corner that was like, how did he even see that guy? I mean, I just think he's been really, really good, and I think that's obviously a catalyst for their offense. You want your point guard to be playing good, and he's played really well.
How about the play of Tyler Betsy? He's picked his spots this year and had some really nice performances. Last night in particular, obviously 6 for 8 from 3-point range. What is the ceiling for him? What do you think he could turn into as a player? Is he just a guy who's like a D&3 guy in the NBA, right? And he's not even that great at defense. He makes threes, and
he's a 3 guy.
Yeah,
right.
He's just a 3 guy. Is he just that, or do you think he could potentially develop into more for this team?
Well, people always say he's just a 3-point shooter, but that's really good. They needed a guy on the team that could make some threes. I mean, they at one point were the worst team in the ACC in the amount of threes they were making per game and the percentage they were shooting. They're getting a little better because Tyler Betsy's shooting a lot better, and Donnie Freeman is shooting it really well from 3. So, I mean, he's another weapon. I mean, when he's on the perimeter and he's making threes, it opens up the middle for guys. And I think he's been really a sell for a team that desperately needs to take some threes and make some threes. He was really good last night. And I mean, honestly, I sit there in the game sometimes and I think when he shoots it, I'm sort of surprised when he misses. He's been shooting it so well that, it's a little shocking. He missed one yesterday. I was like, oh, that looks like it was going in. So I never discount the idea. People used to say it about Chris Bell all the time. He's just a 3-point shooter, but that's a really good skill to have. That's a really good thing to be good at in the game of basketball,
When you're looking at this basketball team, yes, they've rattled off 3 straight wins, but let's be honest, it's been against Florida State, Georgia Tech, and Pittsburgh, 3 of the lower teams in the conference. What does this team need to continue to improve upon that you're seeing, especially when play ramps up here kind of after Boston College?
Yeah, I also think winning on the road is hard and it's really important. And they won 2 road games by 20 points, something like that, a total of 20 points. And that's good. You want to be beating these teams on the road, by a significant margin. And those are significant margins. Those are significant road win margins. I mean, they're going to go into Boston College. They should win that game. I think they're a much better team than Boston College. If they win that game, it's going to be good for them. They're rising in all the metrics because they're winning the games that they should win. And that's what you should, that's good. They're going to start to come up against some of these teams that are sort of in the same bubbly situation they are. Like Virginia Tech's one of those teams. Miami's playing a lot better than I think anybody imagined, but it's, that they've got them at home. They've got a bunch of opportunities coming up here because the ACC is much better than the ACC was last year. So all of these games are intrinsically more valuable than they were last year. I think there's 8 quad 1 games left on their schedule, something like 3 quad 2 games, 3 quad 1, 3 games, something like that. So there is a ton of opportunity left out there, and right now these are the teams on their schedule and these are the teams that they're beating. And that's good. You don't want them to lose any of these games. And I think also what winning does is it gives you a little more confidence. It makes everybody's a little bit happier, everybody's a little bouncier, and basketball just looks a lot more fun.
What do you make of this team playing some more zone of late, mixing it in and mixing it in some key spots late in games?
Yeah, I think it's helped them in certain ways into slowing teams down, right, or to kind of confusing teams. Like Jeff Capel said it after the Pittsburgh game that once Syracuse went zone, they prepared for the zone. They thought Syracuse was going to go zone. They went zone, and Pittsburgh was like, what do we do against the zone? And I think it just is a little bit of a change of pace. The thing that I'm worried about with the zone, and I asked Adrian about it last night, was, they're not a great defensive rebounding team, and they're even a worse defensive rebounding team when they're playing zone. So it'll be interesting to see going forward, like how much zone they play, whether they can get better at rebounding out of the zone, because I don't think they've worked on the zone a whole lot. I mean, I know from the beginning of the season they really, really stressed their man defense, and they've worked on the man defense a ton. So it'll be interesting to see, can they rebound better out of the zone? I think it is a nice little curveball every once in a while to throw in there. It was sort of shocking, to see both teams play zone yesterday. But I think it's interesting. It's another weapon you can use. Like if guys are getting beat off the dribble, if guys are, if teams are beating them inside, whatever it is. I mean, you have it that you can use it if you need it.
How important is JJ Starling to this basketball team, Donna, especially the last couple of games that he's had?
I think he's been super efficient the last couple of games. What he does best is the thing I think he did really, really well the last couple of games, and particularly last night. He is so fast with the ball in his hands. And I think if Syracuse gets in transition, or even if he gets a little bit of a head of steam after a rebound or something, he can really push it and score at the rim, that's the thing he's best at. He's been very good. He's a much improved defender, which I think is so important. And he adds something. He rebounds a little bit. He passes. I think he's played well. He's been really important for them the last couple of games.
Getting back to Donnie for a moment, you look at what he's done during this stretch, shooting 60% from the field, 46 from 3, averaging about 25 points per game. He has been dominant. And we're going to get to this on the show, whether it's today or tomorrow. When's the last time Syracuse has had a player this good who has the potential to be this dominant?
I mean, I'm terrible at that, those kinds of questions. Really am. I'm awful at comparing certain guys. But I mean, I guess the last NBA guy they had was Jeremy Grant. He left after his sophomore year, and he wasn't this dominant. He couldn't shoot like Donnie could shoot. I'm trying to think of a lot. Like Tyler Lydon, was pretty good, a big guy, who produced a lot and who was a guy who could shoot threes and who could score around the rim. He was drafted. Chris McCullough was drafted. So those are sort of similar type of guys, but I think Donnie's better than all those guys because I think he's a really good athlete. I think he's a tenacious rebounder. I think he's gotten to the point where he understands. He said something yesterday, I'm a lot wiser than I was last year, and that's important. I think he's better at figuring out what shots he should take and when he should take them, and he's bigger and stronger, and he's a pro. He's played great. And I think he's really good. Yeah,
it's funny you should bring up those names. I pulled up the list of everybody who's been drafted from Syracuse, and those were some of the names that came to my mind as well. But as you said, I think he's better than all those guys. I think you might have to go back to Wes Johnson, and I mean that was over 15 years ago the last time, and he was the conference player of the year. So, and I'm not saying Donnie's going to be conference player of the year, but
the boozers are around.
Yeah, exactly, right, exactly. exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, I find it interesting. I think you and I are kind of on the same page with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think he's better than all those guys because I think he's first of all he's taller than a lot of those guys. I mean, I think Tyler was listed at 6'9", something like that. I think Donnie's a legit 6'9", 6'10", and he's bigger and broader, and he's just it's just fun to watch him. I think he's just he's just fun to watch. He's a marvelous player.
When you look at Syracuse, where do you see them right now in conference play, ranking kind of the teams? Are they a middle-of-the-pack team? Do you think they can get maybe to that top 6 tier, or don't we know yet until we find out until they play these Virginia Techs and Miamis here coming up?
Yeah, I think Miami and Virginia Tech are going to be 2 real bellwethers for this team. How they play against both of those teams. They're both home games. And both of those teams, well, I think Miami, frankly, has overachieved. I don't think anybody thought Miami was going to be this good this quickly. But I haven't really looked at their schedule. I think earlier in the season I checked it, and I think they have one of the easier ACC schedules. I don't know who they played yet. I haven't really drilled down on their schedule. But, those 2 teams are middle of the pack, could be middle of the pack. Virginia Tech for sure is middle of the pack ACC team. And, these things shift so quickly. A team can go on a 3 or 4 game winning streak or losing streak and then fall out or fall into consideration, right? And it's still kind of early to determine, where Syracuse is. But, I mean, if they keep winning games, all they have to do, I hate to say all they have to do is win games. But, if you just need to win some more games. And that is obviously going to be helpful. I think but I think it's right to think that how they play against Virginia Tech and how they play against Miami is going to be really important.
Yeah, you're right with Miami. They beat Pittsburgh at home, beat Wake Forest team on the road, beat Notre Dame and Georgia Tech at home. So you're right, kind of, the bottom tier like Syracuse has played here early on.
And the interesting thing about their schedule is they do not play Duke this year, and they play North Carolina once. They play Clemson once. They play Louisville once at home. So even the better teams, they catch a little bit of a break there as well. So that's interesting.
I think their home schedule or their ACC schedule was graded out as maybe the least competitive.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't play Duke.
Right.
I mean, but you take that out and, that's your schedule gets a whole lot easier.
Right, which can work either way, right? It's a big opportunity that you don't get, but then on the flip side, if you get blown out, you wish you didn't play the game. So it could go both ways. We've had a few people in our chat bring up JJ and his hand. So I was at the station last night. Both of you were in the locker room. Did JJ say anything about his hand?
I didn't get to talk to him. Did you?
I did not talk to him. And in fact, I don't even think I saw him.
Yeah, I don't think he was in.
So it was so late in the day, and I think we were just trying to hustle as fast as we could. Where Pete was saying it's late. Let's get in here and get out. So I did not see him in the post game.
Yeah, he did not come into the locker room.
I don't know. So usually when that happens, as you know, Mario and Steve, usually a guy's in the training room.
Right,
so
correct.
I don't know exactly what went on with him yesterday, but he finished the game, and we'll see.
And Red asked him numerous times. I mean, you saw him. Are you okay? Are you okay? And JJ kept shaking him off. So it looked like he kind of jammed his hand on the play. But I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one. So
I'm not a doctor either.
All right.
We'd be much wealthier.
We run into the wrong
profession, Donna.
And for the most part, we would not be working at 9. Our workday would not begin at 9 p.m.
Yes, this is true. This is very true. All of this is very true. Yeah. Donna, we love having you on. Thanks so much for the insight. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks. Great to talk to you guys. See ya.
All right. Donna Ditota from Syracuse.com joining us here on the show. And with that, we'll open up the phone lines the rest of the way. 315-437-7644. We'll bring in Tim Leonard. We've got a lot to accomplish with Tim, including today's business. It's coming up next on ESPN Radio.
He wasn't even out on the court either after the game.
Was it his left hand?